Today I fucked up when I reacted positively to being catcalled. Random throwaway. This morning my girlfriend, 25, and I, 28 male, passed a group of young guys, late teens, more or less, as we were walking down the street. One of the guys waited until we had our backs toward the group before shouting, "Nice ass." At that moment, my girlfriend turned around and yelled, "Grow the fuck up." The loudmouth guy laughed like an evil anime character and said, "I was talking to your boyfriend." The whole group was like, "Ooh." My girlfriend looked at me and asked why I was smiling. I didn't even realize I was smiling until she pointed it out. I said no one has ever complimented my ass before. My girlfriend said being catcalled is not a compliment and asked if I was gonna walk away without saying anything. I said if I was gonna open my mouth, it would be to say thank you for appreciating my ass. My girlfriend and I did not see eye to eye about the situation at all, and now there is unnecessary tension between us. TL. Doctor, I got catcalled by a group of random guys in front of my GF. I took it as a compliment, which upset my GF, and now I'm in the doghouse apparently. Edit. The limited information in my post seemed to be more than enough evidence to convince some of you that there was zero possibility that the catcalling was directed at me. Before you file it under concrete facts, please consider the following details. One of the guys, not the loudmouth, did have a rainbow, pride face mask, albeit around his wrist, but still, one of them, if not most of them, might not be totally straight. B. I noticed loudmouth guy eyeballing me when my girlfriend and I walked past, and I actually mentioned that to my girlfriend afterwards, but it didn't mean much to her. C. My ass is fucking awesome and it's totally plausible that it attracted the eyes of sex-positive young people. That being said, it's also possible that those guys did in fact catcall my girlfriend and used my ass to push her buttons. The only appropriate answer in this situation is, wanna see more? Then it simply becomes a game of gay chicken, to see if he really meant you or not. Her reaction is fair because she's understandably sick and tired of shit like that. However, she also needs to realize that the potential for physical violence increases substantially if you, as a male, were to react the same way as she did. Having seen fights start from so much as a, "What did you say?" in the wrong tone, I would much rather diffuse the situation with a similar, witty, response than start a fight where I'm easily outnumbered. Food for thought. Today I fucked up by discussing finances with my daughter. First, I want to apologize in advance because I am not technologically literate and had never even heard of Reddit until a friend showed it to me this morning. He helped me set up an account and well, here I am. Now that I have that out of the way, I'll get down to the brass tacks. I am a 56-year-old man, 57 in 3 weeks. About 2 years ago my doctor told me that he had some concerns about some test results. After several tests he was able to determine I did indeed have a brain tumor. It is inoperable, and as of last week my oncologist told me I have about a year left if I am lucky. I've made my peace with that. The reason I am here is because I have child and she is 27. I have all of my final arrangements made. The only thing left to do was sit down, tell her everything, explain my will and do my best to help her come to terms with things. She took the news how I expected she would, and after some tears, some hot chocolate and homemade cookies, she was feeling a bit better. Then I began explaining the will to her. I gave her a copy to read over, and as she read it her face went from sadness to anger. She slammed the will down and was furious when she found out my net worth. It's a lot, I'll admit it, but I never expected her reaction to it. She flew off the handle screaming at me because I never told her before. How could I make her go without as a kid, and yada yada yada. Then she punched me in the face before storming out of my house and driving off as fast as she could. It's true I didn't give her everything she always wanted as a child. We lived a nice middle-class lifestyle. I worked, and did my best to instill a good work ethic in her. I didn't want to spoil her and turn her into an entitled little brat. I did make sure that she graduated college debt-free, and always helped when she had emergencies. Now I wonder if what I did was wrong. Now I don't know if I should have told her or not. Too long did not read. I discussed my net worth with my daughter and she broke my nose. She broke your nose? How will she live with that act after you pass on? I mean, no disrespect to you, sir, but you told your daughter you're dying, and immediately after she found out your net worth she flips and socks you in the face. That is not typically what someone does to a close family member who had just told them they are dying not 1 or 2 hours earlier. Was it materialistic stuff? Or did she want time with her dad growing up, like traveling and going to theme parks and stuff? Maybe there is still time? Today I fucked up by accidentally gaslighting my wife for 10 years. I, 32M, have had an inside joke with my wife, 30F, for 10 years. As it turns out, I'm the only one on the inside. My wife has a small, but dark brown mark on the top of her left iris. It's pretty hard to see unless her eyes are wide open, but when we were first dating, she mentioned that she had a speck on her eye. I was trying to be polite, so I told her I couldn't really see it. A few days later, the topic of the mark on her eye came up again and she asked if I really couldn't see it or if I was being nice, because to her, it was very noticeable. I playfully said I couldn't see anything. Over the years it became a back and forth where she would insist that I can see it and me denying it. For me it turned into a funny joke. She would take a picture of her iris, zoom in on the brown speck and say, "How do you not see that?" And I would play dumb. Whenever I denied it, I always had a goofy smirk and used a sarcastic tone, hinting that yes, I really can see it. It was just another one of our many inside jokes and I thought of how long to let it ride. I even thought about when was the perfect time to give up the gag, maybe even slip it into our wedding vows. Thankfully I did not do that. Fast forward to today and we were talking about heterochromia in huskies, which led to the topic of my wife's eye, and she was noticeably angry. She took a picture of her iris again and zoomed in and demanded to know if it was some kind of sick joke. She said I was gaslighting her and then it just clicked, I was gaslighting her. She went on to say, it wasn't funny to her at all. It started out as annoying, but she would go around to her friends and family members and ask if they could see the mark. Everyone would say yes, but she still questioned if they were just being nice or if I was telling the truth, and she really doesn't have a mark on her eye. For years she was tortured with the idea that she might be going crazy over whether or not she actually had a small brown mark on her iris, and I realized how big of a fool I made. I immediately fessed up, didn't even try to explain myself, and I apologized as sincerely. To me it was a joke that we were both going to laugh about when I finally caved and admitted it, but to her I was just lying to her for 10 years. I am an idiot. I told her there were no more running gags in the works and that I owe her at least a full day of pampering. Too long did not read. I pretended my wife didn't have a discoloration in her eye for 10 years, thinking I was being cheeky, but was actually driving her insane. Edit. I feel like I should clarify a few things. 1. I think the use of insane in my too long did not read was too strong and gave the wrong impression of how my wife felt. She said she felt frustrated and annoyed, which I totally get. 2. This gag was pretty infrequent. It would come up maybe once a year at most. But what annoyed my wife, understandably, was that I kept it going for 10 years. 3. A lot of people have asked, "How is that a joke?" or, "How is that funny?" It ties into our sense of humor when we first started dating. We used to tease each other by playing dumb about something until the joke ran just a little too long. Dumb stuff like, "Did you eat the rest of the pizza in the fridge?" Nope. In fact, I don't think there was any left. As we got older, we found it less funny and more annoying, so we stopped. But the eye thing was so infrequent that it felt funny, to me, to keep it running after so long. Unfortunately, she wasn't sure if I really could see it and I thought she knew I could, so here we are. My limit is 2. When someone says, "Really?" for the second time at max, the joke is no longer funny, you say, "Yes, I see it. It must have been eclipsed by your astounding beauty," or whatever. Joke over. As an eye specialist, I always ask my patient directly if they noticed the iris nevus, the mole on the color part of the eye, and if so, any size growth or color changes. This is to make sure it is not progressing into melanoma. I've never considered anyone can be sensitive about it before. Good to know. So after 10 years you started lying and saying the spot exists? We all know there is no spot. Today you learned your wife doesn't get sarcasm and language cues. Or you're bad at it. One day is a bit of a budget apology. Closing parenthesis. The fuck did I just read? Today I fucked up by giving my girlfriend an atomic wedgie. This happened about 20 minutes ago, and I'm currently trying not to get killed by my partner or burst out crying or laughing. My partner, F18, and I, M21, have a bit of a competition with wedgies. It started as a playful thing. When the other was distracted, they would receive the wedgie of their nightmares. This normally results in me jumping like a goat in frantic panic to protect my poor gooch from a wedgie of ass destruction. Or my girlfriend yelping like a wounded goat and jumping what can only be described as 10 feet into the air in a 180 degrees twist that would make gymnastics proud, and everyone having a giggle after the ceremonious "fuck you" You cunt. Fast forward to today. My girlfriend and I are playing around in the bed when she's on top of me cuddling. I see my opportunity, for she has made the lethal mistake of wearing a pair of my loose-fitting boxers. The stars align. She's unprotected. And I move with the speed of my ancestors racing to a bottle of whiskey, and I pounce. Time slows. I yank as she throws herself back and reaches to stop me, but it's too little too late. As the loose fabric rockets up her back with the speed of a cheetah on cocaine running towards a wounded gazelle. My girlfriend screeches more than usual as I start manically laughing, proud of the perfect wedgie. I release her and she falls. It's then I realize that it's not laughing I'm hearing but crying. Turns out I've ripped her poor hole asunder and the gooch has been rendered ruined. Proceed with the immediate regret and standard response of every boyfriend who has hurt their partner whilst play fighting, as the groveling and apologies come pouring forth. As my girlfriend calls for Sudocrem, I realize that in my efforts to attain the perfect atomic wedgie, that like Oppenheimer, some power was not meant for human hands and the casualties are too high. I must now spend the rest of the night vigorously apologizing and applying Sudocrem to my partner's ring. Toilet roll might be put in the freezer. Too long did not read. I gave my partner the wedgie of a lifetime and have torn her holes asunder. Icarus flew too close to the sun. Edit 1. I should make it clear that my girlfriend's taint, gooch is safely being cared for. As my mother always said, Sudocrem can cure anything except cancer. And she is now asleep, having had a right good laugh at the comments. Edit 2. Spelling. As sad as it is, I'm not as good a wordsmith as many of you believe. I am Scottish and we only recently have evolved to say any word past cheers, cunt, in which one of you took a shite in didny flush. I am become depth, destroyer of wombs. Man, you write like a god but you're gonna be murdered like a mortal by your GF. It's all fun and games till somebody gets hurt. Then it ain't. And of course no one knows when to stop until someone gets hurt. Live and learn. The language used to describe this incident is damn near Shakespearean. Well done. I need you to describe classic WWE matches in great detail. I have not heard it called a gooch since the coming of the first Jackass Phil.